The J trick is a simple way to fix contrast problems and quickly get the best histogram and tonal range possible for any given digital photo. This trick can work on any raw digital image and does not have to be used in conjunction with Mastin Labs. In our first example, we're going to use the J trick on a raw digital file. This beautiful portrait sent to me by Angela Scheiderick has very low contrast due to the lighting and environment. There may have even been smudges or oil on the lens itself, reducing contrast. I will start with my normal editing workflow by applying the film preset I want to use. In this case, Fuji 400H. After applying the preset, I adjust exposure, white balance, and tint. After applying these basic adjustments, you can still see that the image lacks contrast and pop. This is where the J trick comes in. And it really isn't so much a trick as it is an efficient way to use just one part of Lightroom to fix a myriad of problems surrounding contrast. To use the J trick, first press the J key. You may or may not see anything happen at first. This is because the J key shows you where you are clipping highlights and where you are clipping shadows. By clipping, I mean that the whites or blacks in the photo are so extreme that they no longer show detail. They are pure white or pure black. Highlight clipping is represented by red, and shadow clipping is represented with blue. To do the J trick, go to your curve panel in Lightroom and make sure you are on the right curve panel mode. Click this box to toggle between the two modes. The mode you want is the simplified mode without all the sliders. All you need to do is grab the corners of the tone curve. If you grab higher than the corner, you will bend the curve, which is not what you want to do. So just be patient and you will get the hang of grabbing just the corners. Once you have grabbed the black point corner of the curve, pull it to the right until you see blue clipping warnings appear. Then, grab the white point part of the curve and pull left until you see red clipping occur. Most of the time, once you've done this, the image is perfect. Sometimes you will need to increase exposure a bit more after the J trick to even out the midtones in the histogram. Here's the before, and here's after. Remember, this is a trick to occasionally fix contrast issues. You don't need to do this on every image. 90% of the time, it is not necessary, and you should be able to get a great looking photo with just the basic Mastin Labs workflow, and by using the tone profiles which also adjust contrast. In the second part, we're going to use the J trick to edit a film scan. This works best on basic film scans and usually is not needed on premium scans that have already been adjusted. Just like the first example, we will start by pressing J to activate the clipping warnings. But instead of playing with the tone panel, we will do everything in the histogram itself. First, grab the far left part of the histogram. This section represents the blacks in the image. Pull this to the left until you see blue clipping on the photo. Then, grab the next section over on the histogram which represents the shadows in the image. Pull this to the right until most, if not all, of the blue clipping disappears. Next, we will concentrate on the highlights in the image. Grab the far right of the histogram, which represents the whites in the image. Now pull this to the right until you see red clipping on the image. Next, grab the section of the histogram to the left of the white section. This part of the histogram represents the highlights. Pull this to the left until most, if not all, of the red clipping disappears. Now, if needed, grab the middle part of the histogram to adjust the overall density of the scan. Density is the analog term for the overall exposure of the image. Sometimes we need to make a global adjustment to this to get the high key or low key look we want for the image. Here's the before, and here is after. I hope you use these easy tricks to improve contrast in images that feel just a little bit flat.